I would like, if I may, to take you on a strange journey.
And we're live. Well, welcome to the channel. It's nice to have you. I'm here with, what's your name? Introduce yourself again for the audience.
How's it going, everybody? My name is Taurus. I'm from Toronto, Canada. I'm mainly a house music producer. I also run a house music community over here. It's called We Are House. I really hope to expand it one day from a local to a global outlook towards the world. I have big ideas with that. And in so many ways, I have made my life a musical. My whole life is now music. I do weddings, I do corporate events, I make music, and then I run music communities. And then with all of that, we all see the world in a different lens. And I think I really enjoy seeing the world through the musical lens. I can connect music to anything, whether it is money, politics, women, men, relationships, that kind of stuff. You can always provide a musical outlook towards any type of topic, and I think that's what we're here for today.
Absolutely. It was really nice to have you on the channel. And now we're going to go ahead and kick it off by asking you just a couple questions about economics. This is typically something that we do here at the Foreign Exchange, just to get the guests warmed up. Typically, we ask a couple of questions about politics. I want to know what is your take about the situation with Russia and China?
Russia and China. Well, I think we should start with the obvious. There's three powerhouses of the world. It's China, Russia, and of course America. And America has been, on top for a very long time in so many different realms, whether it be the army, financials. America has the most millionaires per capita, right? And there's just so many different, ways that America is number one. And obviously the number two and the number three, it's in their best intention to, at one point, team up and do something together. What's that saying? The enemy of my enemy is my friend.
Yes.
Right. So I think that's just your classic case of that. And things are, every single day, things are becoming more and more and more interesting. And it's more than what meets the eye. Like, for example, currently Donald Trump, getting arrested. And all that stuff. So why? The front is, Stormy Daniels. Yeah, okay, what's the real reason on right now? They've been trying to put this guy in jail for so many different things, but the Stormy Daniels one, that sticks.
Yeah. That hit. That's the one.
That's the one.
Yeah.
So,
with that respect about Donald Trump, do you think that he's doing a power play right now? Because he has the money to get out of it. He can lobby this shit forever and nothing will happen. And I know that there are some guys that have way more money than him that are probably trying to put him in prison. But do you think he's doing a power play?
Yes. So that's a great question, and I really like where this is going already. But so two people to talk about in the same question, right? Your boy Andrew Tate. Right.
Yes.
And whether he put himself under arrest, put himself in jail or not, the results are positive. He just came out of jail, but although he suffered 100 days, no technology, none of that stuff, he left a lot of things behind for 100 days. However, on a global scale, he is net positive on that, and I believe. Also, like the two most popular men in the entire world, if not three, Elon Musk, would be like Elon, Tate, Trump.
Yeah.
In no order there. Just they're always competing for the top. And Trump and now Tate are facing hardcore legal allegations. So Trump is also net positive on this. I do not think he truly minds doing this. This also takes away from DeSantis's light. Which is climbing. It is climbing, right? So from his political opponent, I think this gives him this turns him into a little bit of a martyr. I see. So I do see that as a positive play for him. I know he's mad. I know he doesn't like this, but he's He's an optimistic man. He always has been, and he always finds a good result no matter what. This is the same man. Let's just really talk about who we're talking about here. Okay, this is the same man who got inside of the ring with Vince McMahon. Okay,
Yes.
that's who we're talking about. Any publicity is good publicity. Period.
Yes.
Okay, so again, he's going to steer this the proper way. It is a mistake for the left to constantly keep giving this man the light in any realm he's going to win. So that's my take on that.
Well, I do think that putting Trump in prison pretty much will benefit a lot of people that don't want him to be elected again. So I think that's probably the main reason. If that was to happen and Sleepy Joe remains in power, then things are just gonna go out of whack. I don't know if this is the power play that the higher ups were planning when they elected Sleepy Joe to have Russia and China form an allegiance and then come out with this brick
Hmm.
proposal
Hmm.
in order to gain control of Europe.
Hmm.
If that was to happen, the U.S. is fucked
hundred
by any
percent,
metric.
hundred
By
percent. I
any
mean,
metric.
and I'm Canadian, so I'm up here in Toronto, and like I still don't know what that means for Canada. Like because my leader, fuck, I hate saying that, but Justin Trudeau is doing a lot of things and following the script, following along for the World Economic Forum. So I don't know if Canada gets destroyed the same way America might. I think we're going to catch some debris, but there definitely will be, I don't know. I feel somewhat a little bit safer than I would feel right now in America from a financial standpoint. Communism ideals are increasing at rapid speeds in Canada, but because my puppet leader is truly, bending over for the World Economic Forum,
Hmm.
we there might be somewhat behind the scenes where Canada is not doesn't fall behind so much. So
Yeah, apparently they're gonna be tying the gold standard. They're gonna back all their currency with assets.
with resources,
Yeah, yeah,
with
something that is actually tangible, unlike the U.S., which is just the Federal Reserve word
mhm.
on where things are gonna go. But if that was to happen and Saudi Arabia actually takes the yen as the main currency for oil, what do you think will happen to the economy here in the U.S.? Do you think the gas prices are gonna go up or down?
Up or down. It sounds like it's going to go up.
Yeah,
For this question, it's
a
more much
no-brainer.
more, yeah. But I think on a global scale, because that's what's happening right now. All of these giant moving pieces is for a global purpose. It's going to knock out America, but that's just part of the plan. That's not the main goal, right?
Hmm.
That's like, okay, it's like that's nice. You knock them out. Now what? Right? So like for example, the Taliban that took over Afghanistan, okay? Right? They took over
Hmm.
the government. For decades they wanted to take over the government. Did you know right now because they destroyed the office, so they took over the office. So now there's so many members of the Taliban on Twitter, on social media, complaining about their job. They raided the capital so that they can take over the government, and now the society now depends on the Taliban. Which they're great at taking over the government, but they're not good at running a government. So right? All of a sudden, you have to sit in your chair, and your guns don't matter anymore, right? So there's a lot of issues there. So now bring that to a bigger picture. Now, congratulations, Russia and China. You destroyed America. Saudi Arabia came in. They contributed. Everyone had this play. Congratulations. Now what? Right? You have there is first of all, first right off the bat, turmoil globally. The amount of people that are inclined to die, suffer, how many middle class people will fall into poverty, um, and that kind of stuff. The gap between rich and poor will only increase again on a big scale. So this is all by design. So there's a chaos. I truly believe is coming. Chaos that our generation has never seen. And if you put it into a mathematical terms, I forgot the exact term, but it's called the fourth coming. Do you know about the fourth coming?
Yes, I read about that.
We are in it.
I've read about the third.
Right.
The third, I think it was one of the U.S. presidents that used it, and I don't know if the second was used by Hitler or one of his or Starling. I'm not quite sure.
So basically, I think it's every 80 years, if I'm not mistaken, is the fourth coming. Every 20 years is like some sort of reckoning happens on a global scale. But and for everyone listening, again, I don't have all the facts in front of me at the moment, but just look up the fourth coming. And every 80 years is a catastrophe that lasts 20 years long.
Do you think that is part of some sort of reset?
Of course, of course. So if you look 80 years ago, what was 80 years ago?
World War II.
World War II, right? And the exact same swing of things, right? There was the true transition from gold, the gold standard, into the U.S. dollar as the global standard, right? So in the exact same time. So here we are now, 80 years later, okay, which is on a mathematical spectrum. We're due for that reckoning, that global reckoning, and we're starting to see it, develop in so many different areas. And I think it's going to be bigger than a World War II thing. We're going to wish World War II was here, and I'm sorry that's not anti-Semitic in any way whatsoever. I'm saying the bad times that everybody was in. We're seeing agricultural getting destroyed on purpose, especially in America. There is maps out there of farms and food plants that have been just set on fire or blown up or accident. 10,000 chickens accidentally got sick. I seen a giant herd of buffalo all fall dead overnight, just like in Yellowstone, the show. Train derailments left, right, and center constantly in the last 2 months. Trail derailments every week. There's a catastrophic trail derailment with a chemical on there. Something that just happened in Pennsylvania, correct?
Yes. I was reading about another one recently here. That another one got some train carts got derailed in a river here in Ohio. That's aside from the incident that happened on Palestine.
Mm-hmm. East Palestine, yes.
There's this chemical. I forgot the name of the chemical. It's not
chloride.
No, it's a different chemical. Here I just posted it on my Instagram story. Oh, methanol.
That was the Pennsylvania one.
Oh yeah, it's terrible, and it's on the river. And it's on the river, so that's right on the water. So I wonder what is the power play here. It will be far-fetched to say that this is not some sort of
coincidence.
Plan.
This is not.
It will be something.
Sorry.
To say. Yeah.
You said it's far-fetched. Yeah. So in other words, if you do not think something is this,
it's up. You're a fool.
Yeah. You're.
It's like, come on. It takes a lot to knock a train out of the tracks and dump it into the river. You get me? It's heavy, and it's carrying how many tons? Like 20 tons or something, or 100 tons. Yeah, it's a lot. So
on my social media in the last couple of years, after all of these things that are obviously by design, whether it's COVID, the train, like you name it, right? I say to my people, if you're saying that this is all just a coincidence, at this point in time, you're the conspiracy theorist.
Yeah.
You're far-fetched.
You only need to open your eyes, and you're going to see a lot of things that have been taking place over time, that when you put them together, it's like, come on, man.
Mm-hmm.
How long can you play blind?
Mm-hmm.
But switching back to the topic we're talking about the Russia and China and Dubai. What do you think is the end play? At least this is a broad question, and I want you to give me an honest answer. What do you think would happen if this is a hypothetical? What do you think would happen if Russia's up here, and the middle is Mongolia, and right down here is China? What do you think if Russia and China got together and took over Mongolia? What do you think
And
will happen to the world's affair? Because then it will be by mass the biggest nation in the world. There will be no army able to stop it.
what's happened? Sorry, Mongolia. This is this a topic? There's so many topics. What's going on with in Mongolia?
No, Mongolia has nothing to do with it. But I'm just saying a hypothetical
A
scenario. What would
hypothetical.
happen? Yeah, if Russia and China took over Mongolia and then they made Mongolia the capital of the new nation,
Oh, I see
and
what you're
then
saying. I see what you're
they
saying.
decided to create their own currency and extend that to the rest of the world.
I see what you're saying. Okay. 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 What will we see? Okay, so
Yeah.
I'm going to talk from like on the ground. Okay. We're going, I believe we are going to see the biggest jump into this utopian, dystopian type of world that we always see in futuristic movies. Um, China will not be able to do that, or sorry, they won't do that unless their part of the deal was to push their communistic ideals that have
Hmm.
to the rest of the world that have worked to fix their GDP and to fix their economy, their communistic ways against their society, against their people, have is what they look at as a great model. And this is actually a quote from my prime minister. China is an incredible model. Their communistic ideals is an incredible model for to fight global warming, right? Like little things like that. So
Hmm.
China would be pushing their what's it called, social credit system. And again, so if they were to make this deal happen with the whole Mongolia thing, let's merge together, China would be bringing in their social credit ideas to the world, where you have to be a good boy or else you cannot use your bank account. You cannot use your car. Your kids cannot go to school. This is already
Oh shit!
happening.
So that's what's gonna happen here in the U.S. when they bring this new currency, this blockchain currency. That now everything
Yes.
you do would be on file.
Yes. So again, so these two powerhouses coming together, it would be about that. I would have to imagine that everything points to it. If you just kind of put some pieces together by yourself, it's like, hey, everything kind of looks like this right now. You know, you can
Hmm.
always tell when a tornado's coming. Like there is, it doesn't just go from 0 to 100.
Strong winds,
You
yeah.
you start to see like a lot of okay, oh something's happening here. Then you look at the animals. The animals always know before the humans do. Okay, even insects and the seagulls and that kind of stuff. So you look for the signs, and right now, I think it's inevitable that something drastic is coming. We do not know what. There's a bunch of theories being thrown out there because there's so many eyes on this. But I'm trying to stick to the topic here between the Russia, Mongolia, and China thing. China's deal, part of that deal, would be to push their global communistic ideals, and I'm sure they have plans for that. They want to do exactly what America did to the world. America pushed their capitalistic ways to the world, and they provided the land of opportunity and the idea of what true freedom really is. And even if America didn't get it all correct, it is the closest to a good feeling, and that's
Mhm.
what freedom is. It's a feeling.
Do you think that if China and Russia were to pass this agenda upon everybody else, and the world actually took part of this communistic doctrinations, that's pretty much what it is. It's not a
Hmm.
real government. It's just pretty
Hmm.
much people on top remaining on top till their families dies. Might as well we just
Hmm.
have kings and wizards again. You get me? So
Oh yeah.
if if that was the case, what do you think would happen to the rest of the population? Would we suffer if we were to allow for this change, or will we just, because you have to take into consideration that as long as there are those who remember what was,
Hmm.
there will be those who will oppose to what could be. So I'm sure there's gonna be some sort of revolt or revolution about not wanting this socialism thing or this communism thing, right?
Yes, yes. So I know exactly. If you have more to your question, I think I already know where you're trying to go with this, right? So, it's not you're not going to feel it. Whatever they have planned, you're not going to feel it. People will be hurt, but there's going to be things in play that don't make you feel hurt. And then for the rebels, And I will say for people like me, the people who will rebel in the various ways that they can, the people who are trying to group together strong-willed people, for example, like anti-vaxxers, right? Those are a
Mm-hmm.
threat to these ideas that the top elites are pushing. So they
Mm-hmm.
have ways to deal with them. And it's like a robot. It's like an AI robot. It is constantly learning, and it's learning way faster than a human can. So it's learning how to push the hardest communistic ways onto people and to keep people satisfied at the exact same time,
Mm-hmm.
so that you don't even think to fight back. And we kind of see it already. Like let's just talk about right now. Let's talk about history instead of the future for a second to kind of prove my claim here, where you're not going to feel it. How many times do you feel like you know a narrative is just being pushed from a news outlook, radio, music, all that stuff, and everybody just buys it? And if you're just you already see the scam in it, and if you just try to explain it to just a general person that you meet on the street, at the store, whatever,
They will not get it, or they will contradict you
not
regardless.
only that, they give you the crazy eyes, like, hey, well, you're a little bit weird. Like, you're a little bit weird. You know what, and intrinsically there's a mental path on how they arrived at this very quick
Mm.
conclusion for you, just because you said a couple of sentences, right? And it's basically this.
Of course, mind
They,
programming.
it's very mind programming, because the system is made to keep you busy, and it's not busy in a good way, like you're being productive. It's busy as in 9 to 5 mindset. And then, of course,
Yes.
with your 9 to 5 mindset, they will give you just enough to get you that down payment for your house. And if you get that down payment for your house, what does that really mean? You get that mortgage, and now you're locked. Even if you
Oh yeah,
don't
you're
want it,
fucked.
you must maintain your mortgage payments. And then if you're doing that, now you can move up. Let's have a kid. Now you got to maintain the kid, the wife, the mortgage, the job. You better make your boss happy. Oh, politics in the office, I don't want to get involved there, even though in the back of the head now, all of our emotions are there. We
Mm-hmm.
know what we really want. We know that
So
we
it's
do not agree.
pretty much invisible handcuffs on the population.
That's what it is. Now imagine that. Now that's the past. We all know what that looks like, because we've been in
Mm-hmm.
this work nine to
We're
five
still in
system.
it.
We're still in it for what, the last 100 years or so. It's been like the 9 to 5 era,
Mm-hmm.
right? So, and we've seen the robotic mindsets of like, oh, don't push your politics on me, because I just want to go focus on my mortgage. If I talk to you, you might get me fired. Okay, so the future version of that is, if you, let's say you we 10 years from now, if we're having this podcast, I predict, and if we were pro Trump, I predict that our social credit system would tear us apart. If we both have kids, our kids would be, sanctioned at the schools that they go to. Our Visa cards would be frozen. Our bank accounts would be frozen. That kind of stuff. And on top of that, right? Then you might say, well, I have friends. I'm a part of groups. I'm a part of strong groups that will support me as my bank account is frozen, as I get my points back up. Hold on. You would be considered a criminal or a domestic terrorist. And if
Mm.
anybody helps you, whether it's your neighbor or your family, they will lose points. And
Oh
then
jeez, that would be terrible.
yes, so to them, you would be a cancer to their lifestyle.
So do you think that the best solution against all of this is just to pull away from the government? Just
How?
like before World War One and World War Two,
Oh, like have
just to
no
pull away.
government. Have
Yeah,
no
like have
government?
no government. Be completely detached. Have like before we used to have like tribes here and there, and
Right.
everybody looked after their own kind. You get
Yeah.
me?
So which what you're doing is you're actually explaining we're taking away big government to replace it with micro governments within a
Yes.
colony. Yeah.
Yes.
So
Regions.
yes. So like, you know. eh, let's actually take a step back, and if you realize it, right, every different idea we're coming up with to provide some sort of solution to fight back with what's coming, it's all
Mm-hmm.
messy. It's all messy, and that's the point I think we want to get to today. Whatever is coming, it's gonna get messy. period. It's going to get
It's gonna
bloody
get here regardless, pretty
no
much.
matter what. Because just imagine that. Let's just imagine that. You're talking about this society. This society is going to push for a no government. Like,
I highly doubt that.
we are now. Do you even want that? This right now, we are in the most emotionally reactive society, and you want to now take away government, which takes away rules and laws.
We will collapse. We will have complete anarchy. Fucking.
Thank you.
It's gonna be terrible.
Right.
Terrible.
Right. So which way do you want to lose is what we're basically trying to talk about today. Right.
So
which
pretty
way?
much we're on a plane. We're on a plane and we're going to crash. The only thing we can do is brace for impact.
Right. And I think, again, it comes back to the math of it, right? It's almost like, is it not perfectly designed this way? Here it is, the fourth coming. You know, like, right? So it's like, we always want to, like, prevent disasters. And at a certain point, you just have to realize, the disaster is coming. So, it's kind of like this. Imagine you're in a convenience store and you're running the convenience store. Odds are one day somebody might come in and pull a gun on you, right? Mm-hmm. So, but every convenience store owner knows this. They know this, and they still invest in the convenience store, right? So the point is, they're not trying to prevent it anymore. They just know that they might get shot. Hopefully, they just get shot in a non-fatal area. Seriously, that's what it is. Think about people who live in ghettos, right? They're much more prone to violence in this kind of stuff, and a lot of them are living a life where they're just probably expecting some sort of bullet or knife to stab them. Even look at Tate. I believe he's been stabbed multiple times in England over disputes with his I think is like his fighting opponents. And that kind of stuff. He's expressed those stories many times before. There's comes a time where you just know something's going to happen, and you just pray to God that it's just a live and learn lesson and not a fatal, lesson. So the same thing on a global spectrum. Disaster is coming, ladies and gentlemen. It is coming. There is no, let's get together, blah, 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 blah. They have been playing chess. The people running your life have been playing chess against you, and you didn't even know the game was on. And then once you come to the game, right, you can't, you can't say, oh, okay, I didn't even know we were playing a game. Yeah, they're like, yeah, sorry. No, you lost your queen, you lost both bishops, and like 8 pawns. So figure it out.
You're in checkmate and you can't move.
That's all it is. That's all it is.
Day one. Now, what do you think will be the repercussions of this on families? Let's say, because right now we have a lot of discussion over here, especially in Canada, with this thing that they're bringing drag queens into classrooms to dance for babies or children.
Mm-hmm.
That is crazy on its own. But what do you think all this socioeconomic status or all this big bamboozle of politics will have on the population and the way the population see themselves? Because right now we have here in America, everything is emotions. I feel. Everybody feels like there's something they're not.
Mm-hmm.
You can identify pretty much as a microwave if you wanted to.
100%, yeah.
So how do you think this is gonna go over, especially with all this power struggle?
So I think the answer is in history. I think one of the greatest empires of all time was the Roman Empire, and with what we're living in right now, there's a lot that's happening right now that was happening in the Roman times before the collapse happened, and the Roman Empire collapse was within. It was within. Okay, societies crumbled from within. You had immature emperors taking over. I believe, I think it was 3, 4, maybe 5 Roman emperors that were teenagers. They inherited the Roman Empire, the biggest empire of all time, right?
That is mad.
With 3 to 4 teenagers, I'm telling you, and I understand like teenagers were a different breed back then, but still, but when you learn what they were doing, it's like, yeah, no, these guys were kids, and look at it right now. In America and in Canada, there's talks. I think we should increase the voting age to 16. Like I'm not joking, right? What are they saying? They're saying, you know what, kids are stupid, right? and they're only liberal anyway because the entire school system in America and Canada is hardcore liberal. So we're breeding. We're literally just like bringing down the age so that we get more liberal votes. That's all it really is, right? So forgive me. What was the original question? I don't want to start branching off.
What do you think would
Oh,
happen?
with the trans people. Okay, so the same things were happening in Rome, which is what's happening again here in America. America is killing itself within. There will not. Yes, there will not be a war. The Russia and Ukraine war. I mean, it's so obvious at this point that it's just it's. I
feel like at this point it's more like a war on the mind.
Yes.
Than a war of the body. There's no soldiers to fight the war. I mean, most of them are doing drag queen spectacles and whatnot. So
yeah. Just look at Zelensky. Like, this guy was literally naked on stage. Have you seen these videos?
I have not.
You really haven't seen it?
I haven't seen it,
bro. He's literally. I can show you music videos. This guy was in a music group before, and he's not a trans, but he was with like a bunch of naked, I'm gonna guess, gay men.
So he's gay.
But in like the, what's it called, the BDSM stuff.
So he's definitely gay.
If not, no, but he has a wife. So I don't really know.
He's still gay.
The point is, if you see the videos, there's no way in like you if you see the videos and then you add that he comes to Hollywood to get put on stage so that America can see him as this good person. Then they put him in front of the U.S. Senate over there, and he makes a couple of announcements where Ukraine is not a charity, something, all this bullshit, okay? It is, again, like the system, the people up here, they're not even trying to disguise anymore. They're literally saying, hey, guys, it has always been a show, and before we initiate the final finale plan, we're gonna in conclusion, we're gonna reveal to you that it's been a show the whole time. We're not even gonna try anymore. So, for example, the Zelensky thing. Look at all the Twitter files coming out with Elon, right? You think he can get away with that? Really? You really think he can get away with that without a bullet in his head or something like that? You know, the whole Epstein case, the whole thing, how America finally knows that there's a gigantic pedophile ring behind the scenes, and it's been going on for decades. The whole Balenciaga thing, nothing happens. They're literally telling you, and all of this information just coincidentally has come out in the last year and a half. How could every secret that's been saved for decades come out in a year? And the people releasing the information, nothing happens to. They want you to know. They want you to know. That's it. It's as simple as that. It's part of it.
That's what it is?
Yes, because in satanic rituals, okay, there's a rule with them.
Yes, I'm aware of this.
Yes.
They need you to know what's going on because they believe in karmic retribution.
Yes. It's a fair deal. If you really think about it, as a capitalist, it's a fair deal. Watch this. It is simple. It's like, hey, you made $1 million. Okay, let's say you make $1 million this year, and I simply say, hey, can I have some? And you're like, no, fuck no, right? That's rational. Okay. Mm-hmm. They do the exact same thing, but they just design the question in different ways where you now have to question it yourself, blah, 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 and before you know it, you gave your money away. But you did it. The devil didn't come knock on your door and take it away. He simply asked, and you slowly kept giving in due time. So here's how they do it. It's always been two genders, right?
Yeah.
All you have to do to create chaos is this. How do we know it's two genders? That's it. You just have to be a conglomerate news reporter, okay? You can be Vice, that stupid liberal piece of shit.
That does sound like some devil type of question. How do you know that's the apple from God?
That's it, right? Look what they're doing.
Doubt.
Yeah, look what they're doing right now. That you could even see. I swear in my life, you maybe missed it, but it was on Fox or CNN, whatever. Girl comes on. Math is racist. Math is racist. Math is racist. Yes, math is racist. This is what I'm talking about. They are grabbing basic law. It's not a conversation. Hey, 2 + 2 is 4, right? Yes. Okay. So it's very easy to conclude that it's not something to dispute. It's only something to understand.
Yes.
That's it.
Correct.
But they just stick to this. Let's just dispute. How do we know 2 + 2 is 4? And as long as you do it in a way where at some, like, hey, this is on mainstream news, the consumer will somewhat take it seriously. And all you need is a dummy to start questioning it. A dummy with 100,000 followers, right? And
Yes.
boom, a whole new stream, a whole new river of chaos coming into it. And then now we have all this mess. It's just a giant mess of things. And here's how you beat it. Okay, and I believe we talked about this part. I have a saying, and I've coined this saying: anything at all that complexes simplicity is the devil. When you look deep into it, where it comes from, where the complexity comes from, you will learn very, very fast that is where the devil resides. It's as simple as that. There's always been 2 genders. Now there's 64. Okay, we've let that narrative happen a little bit, even though we know we disagree. But okay, let us allow yourself to be yourself, and look where we are. Look where we are.
Do you think this is part of what the Bible quotes in the Book of Revelations?
Yes.
Yeah. Like, you
Yes.
think Armageddon is close because of all of this? I mean, it did predict in the Bible. It did predict that the power, the superpower of this time, which is the U.S., will go down,
Mm-hmm.
and then after that, it will be a period of great calamity, and then after that, that's when the ending will come.
So yeah, exactly, right. And we keep tickling the same kind of topic, right? Like this whole global happening. So I'm going to bring it into another perspective, right? So in the underworld, so like with mob bosses and cartels and all that kind of stuff, and something maybe we both understand, you being Cuban and me being Italian, right? So when a mob boss or a cartel gets killed, right, or he's put in jail for life, or some sort of the head is taken off, okay, there is almost certainty that chaos comes right after that within the community, the cartel, or the country. Correct? You understand what I'm saying?
Yes.
Because there's a new leader that comes into play, and in order for that new leader to be taken seriously, a lot of serious actions need to be taken for the respect to come his way. Right?
Mm-hmm.
It's just a power play. That's all it really is. He doesn't even hate the people that he probably has to kill right away. Or just make an example out of, but he must make an example out of them in order to survive in longevity, because a part of a cartel's longevity is how much respect is given to him. That's his currency. Respect is a cartel or a godfather's currency. Cool. Right? So you need to earn that, especially if you're the new guy, because everybody wants that spot when it's open for even a little bit, and now you got that spot. Now you got to prove that no one it should fuck with you. So the same thing's happening right now. After America goes down, you think China and Russia are truly going to stay friends?
Probably not.
Probably not, because they're both an equal number 2, and they both think their ways are good enough to be number 1. So it's a clash, and if you ever play poker, you learn this way. You learn this way a lot. If you're a big stack at the poker table, you shouldn't be in every single hand. You should not get involved in every single hand. America has gotten involved in every single hand, and I think in the long run, this is why they're losing. They're in too many hands, too many, and you've created too many enemies. Do
you think there are gonna be innocent bystanders? I know by default there's always innocent bystanders in conflict. But do you think there will be any particular countries that will be affected by this?
Yes, it looks like a lot of African countries are again going to fall victim to a lot that's going on. They are already corrupt in so many different ways, from its resources being captured by other countries. And you have to understand that it's their governments that allow it. It's their governments that are corrupt. so I think it looks like Africa, a lot of African nations are taking the hit. We're actually already seeing it. Right now, there's riots and chaos in Nigeria, and Nigeria, I believe, is one of the higher end of like of an economy in
Hmm.
Africa. I could be mistaken, but I collect that survey from all the Nigerians that I talk to. So we will. I believe Africa is going to be the first to see a lot of blows with what's coming. Not to even mention, China has already gotten their claws in a lot of African infrastructure. And Africa is going to, China likes it when you go in debt to them. They enjoy that. They don't mind. And China, I believe, is doing a lot of infrastructure work in a lot of African nations. And when it comes time for Africa to pay back, they won't be able to. And the reason why they won't be able to is because of what's coming on a global spectrum. Probably like their money won't be worth anything, or they're going to try and pay them in U.S. money, but now U.S. money is worth nothing. So how can you pay China back, right? And China's like,
Yeah.
oh, don't worry about it, and then we're just gonna you owe us, but we're gonna take over this
I
nation.
have seen that there are many countries that are in debt with other countries, have no way to pay them back,
Hmm.
but they keep borrowing. So how could you keep borrowing when you have no way to pay it back? And then those
Yeah.
countries have nothing to back up that actual debt.
Hmm.
So it's like broke people lending to
Yep.
broke people,
Yep.
hoping for a better result.
Do you remember last August? Do you remember Sri Lanka last August? I think it was. So Sri Lanka, so they got their new president. I think their current president stepped down. This new president comes in one weekend. It gets on TV for all the Sri Lanka to see. And he's like, "Hey, everybody, the country only has 4 days of oil left.
What?
Yeah, we only have this much oil left, and we can't get any more because our debt to America has surpassed, and I think it was, we cannot ask for a loan anymore. No one's willing to give us a loan. We can't get bailed out." Instantaneously, I forget the number, but that day alone, the amount of people that got murdered in that country just on the street, and you can see videos, hopefully they're still up, you will literally see people grabbing their Sri Lankan money and throwing it out the window. If you just walked on a main street, it was just Sri Lankan paper money all over the ground
Oh wow.
in a day. So
Wow, 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 wow.
yeah,
That is horrible.
yeah. Uh,
So do you think something like that could possibly happen in Canada or the US?
no,
In the
so
US I doubt it because we print our own currency, but what about Canada?
yeah, so I think it's going to work like this. Yeah, like again, I'm sticking to the same narrative of like, disaster is coming. The way it comes to each country will be different, right? So, for example, like Canada and America, although we're scared over here now, right? But um, the way every country is going to be eaten is going to be slowly. So Canada and America are like on shore. They're like, how do I explain this? They're like on the beach while every other country is like in the water already, you know?
Mm-hmm.
But the water will rise and it will eventually eat, America or Canada, or there'll be a threat. The water will be a threat to America and Canada as it rises. But as it rises, um, the other countries will just drown. Do you get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So you're seeing it every couple of weeks. You will, if you really truly did your timeline properly, and I've been watching this every couple of weeks, there's a new country that goes insolvent, that like their money's worthless, okay, and they struggle, and they like El Salvador, they just randomly is like, hey, out of nowhere, yeah, Bitcoin is our official El Salvadorian currency. Jamaica did the same thing, just overnight, like, hey, what's up? Bitcoin's our currency now. You know,
Wow.
uh, so Sri Lanka has fallen, Nigeria has fallen, and then part of these changes, they tell you, Nigeria said, and China has even done it as well. All the money you have in the bank, you have X amount of time to spend it because it's just going to be worthless anyway.
That's what I was reading about this new currency they want to implant on the U.S. They want to use blockchain technology
Mm-hmm.
so they can track pretty much everything you do.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm assuming that at some point you're gonna have a certain amount of money in the bank, and the
Yep.
government's gonna be like, okay, you have till 12 o'clock to spend it all,
Mhm.
or you won't be able to spend any. But they're gonna be curfews, so up
Yep.
until what time you can use your
Yep.
money.
Yep.
That is complete autonomous violation of any human right that you could possibly have.
Right. And you know what? Going back to the whole satanic ritual thing, they tell you this. They don't implement it. They ask. They simply just say, "What do you think about a 15-minute city?" Well, what do you think? We're just gonna try it over here. They literally just come in and put it in, and they just wait. And here's the truth. And I really, really hope that this gets soundbited. I really hope if there's 1,000 viewers, I want this part to be soundbited, okay? Because this is probably the most important part of this podcast here, okay? The devil and their satanic rituals, they will simply request, is this okay, society? If society as a whole comes together and fights back and says, no, this is not okay, the devil will go away. He won't even fight back. It is part of their rules. This is their rule. They're not allowed to implement nothing that society collectively rejects. Everything that is still here from a devilish point of view is only still here because society hasn't pushed it away yet. For example, look at something as stupid as the masks in COVID. Okay? Think about it. Every single time you went, think about this for a fucking second. You had 50-year-old men, like all these adults go to the grocery store to go fetch groceries for their family. And then all of a sudden you have a 16-year-old boy at the front reminding the adult who is 3-4 times their age to put on a mask. A 16-year-old boy has been instructed to stand there and annoy each and every person that walks in. And not the reason why that boy never went away and headquarters never took him away was because the people walking in never made it a problem back. They never said, no, go fuck yourself. Or no, I'm not putting it on. Thank you so much for your what's it called? Your worrying, whatever. Assistance, yeah. Right? So if enough people, like the boy was put there to annoy one by one every person. But if one by one that person was annoying right back, that 16-year-old boy at the grocery store would not be there very, very, very soon. Instead, because society never fought back, and instead of fighting that person, that boy, and it's not the boy, instead of fighting the system, society decided to fight thy neighbor. And then inside the grocery store, everybody who wasn't wearing a mask, they were approached, hey, by society, not even by the employee. They were doing it for free. They're coming up to you saying, hey, that's very, very dangerous for you to take off that mask. So now they're a soldier to the idea that's being pushed onto them. And then we saw
mind virus.
Exactly. So that is why the mask bullshit, just the mask, we're not even talking about COVID, and then the 3-4 jabs plus 3 in a couple of years. We're not even talking about that. Just the masks alone only stayed there for 2 years because society allowed it as a whole. But there was no official announcement from the government to, okay, everybody, you can stop wearing your masks. It was brief. It was like, oh, by the way, just little. They just slid it in there, like when you're watching the news, you just see the ticker right here. That's how they slid it in. Like, oh yeah, by the way, you don't have to wear your mask anymore. Okay, thank you. But people got arrested. Kids, I saw policemen stop 12-year-old boys on their bike outside because they were not wearing a mask. This literally happened in Canada. Okay? It's crazy. Oh, and by the way, you don't need a mask anymore. Okay?
The Matrix.
Right.
Oh my God.
So that's the devil working. And as long as society, and you might be sitting there, people watching this, you might be sitting there, well, how could society ever come together? We can't come together on anything. You need to just do your part. Stick to your beliefs. That's it. And as soon as you wave your flag in the air, somebody else who thinks like you will see you. And now you have two. But you need to be doing your part. You have to stop waiting for your neighbor to start. You are already, your frontal cortex, use that part. your instinct. This doesn't sound right. This doesn't feel right. Okay? Based on what I see or what I feel, they're trying to infringe on my rights, on my freedom. And if I give that away, how can I get that back? Oh, I can't. So there's a saying, you can always say no until you say yes. I think that's an incredible line, and it's very, very true. One by one, just do your part. Don't worry about if the other person's doing it. Do your part, and then the other person will see. Period.
That is very, very, very interesting points on this particular subject. Now, let's lighten the mood for the audience, because we've been talking about politics for quite some time.
All right.
It gets pretty tense. Let's talk about music. That is what you do. That is your specialty.
Yes.
Tell us something that we don't know about the music industry.
Okay, so I like I said before, so I'm a house music producer. I go by the name of Taurus. Yes, like the bull, like the zodiac bull. I know that's not the devil's sign. That's just bull like the horns. But okay, so we're talking a lot on a global spectrum, so I'm gonna explain this from a global point of view. It is now more than certain. I've always known this, and I've been trying to push this onto the world for at this point, about 15 years now. It's really hard to gain some traction on it, but this is now finally coming to the front, and we are now starting to finally see how the devil is in music, and more specifically, hip hop. Okay, and let me explain this to you. And I think even Kanye was, when he was going on his multiple rants in the last 4 to 5 months, a part of this was music. He was talking about, the 808 kicks and how they have changed it, just tweaked it, the frequency. Okay, I know I'm getting technical here, but this is very, very, very important. And I'm going to come all the way around here. If you could just give me the floor, I'm going to go a little crazy. All right. Okay, so the top two most listened to genres of all time it was rock and roll, and then hip hop took it over in the most recent years as the most listened to and most popular genre of music of all time. Both of these constantly promote the devil in plain sight, okay, through degeneracy, through absolute symbology, with whether it's the triangle or the pyramids, all that stuff, or if it's literally just Satan's horns, or if it's just the degeneracy from fucking bitches and doing drugs and shooting people and killing people and all that stuff. The content of this music is just pure and blatant evil. Now from that, okay, now we step back. It's like, okay, so it's pure, blatant evil. They're allowed to do so. Yes, they are allowed to do so. But how isn't it weird that the quality of the music of hip hop is so awful? It's just awful. Well, it's just terrible quality. And yet that terrible quality is in high demand. All right. So it is now the most listened to music of the world, which now means when you take a step back, take away music, for example, we are in the most degeneracy is at an all-time high. Would you agree? Quick second, would you agree? Yeah, degeneracy is at an all-time high, especially on a global spectrum. Okay, great. So when you see that, it's like, okay, so what is everybody eating? It's very, very easy to guess that I'm going to get fat if I keep eating McDonald's every single day. It's an easy prediction. And why is that easy? Because you can visually see it. But we have different, we consume in different ways, with our mouth, with our eyes, and with our ears. Okay? So I like to call this the 3 M's. We all consume from the 3 M's: music, movies, and media. All 3 of these are made to manipulate your mind, something you can't even truly control when consuming. And one of the things, so we can watch a movie and use logic before our heart, right? Before our emotion. And we can watch the news, the media, and use logic before our heart. But with music, there's no music in the world where your logic is tuned in. Your music is made specifically for emotions, right? To cater to emotions. Okay. Mm-hmm. So now go back to the globe. We all confirm that degeneracy is at an all-time high. Why? Because of what we are consuming. So the frequency we are consuming is demonic, and it's by design. It is on purpose. And when you're looking at the number 1 most listened to music of all time, and that's hip hop, there is no quality whatsoever in that. We're talking at a time where But Beethoven was famous because of his quality, that kind of stuff, that era. It's all quality. Quality was in high demand. Now, quality is not important. Degeneracy is in high demand. And there you go. There's the results of the world. You have highly emotional people ready to murder on a pulse, you know? Um, like you already know the realm I'm going to dive into here. But so the point I'm trying to make is, part of the main reason, the main reason on why this world is what it is simply because of the undertone of the frequency we all consume, and that is music. Because music is the universal language, and that's quoting Nikola Tesla. Okay, the secret to the universe is frequency. And
Yeah.
that's why, before I became a music artist, that's why I dove into house music. That's why house music called on me. And I've been pushing it, and I've been a true front campaign-oriented artist towards house music. That's why I started my own house music community. I have my own house music merch store, and I make house music. And I even made, and by the way, I even made a Tate, a house music song called Tate, and I really hope to get it all done and out on release upon his official release, because he's still under house arrest. So that's in the works as well, but I can't give anything else away at the moment. Yeah, my whole life is now house music, and that is where God lies. I believe that is God's last stance from a musical spectrum. And you can be saying, you might even be a house music fan saying, well, there's a lot of evil house music. Absolutely. I will fight you though and say, how many times does an evil house song with evil lyrics make it long lasting? Go look at classic tracks that are still played 30 years later. There is no demonic content whatsoever. So that's why I love house music so much, because it filters through
It's just
the
a
crap.
different vibe, huh?
Yes, and then to prove that God is in house music and it's not in hip hop, it is very, very clear, and I can prove this. We're not going to do this today, but I can prove this. If anybody wants to message me privately, I can prove this to you. Hip hop is not number one because of reality. It is inflated numbers. It's not real whatsoever. Cardi B just spits out a song and she makes it to the top of the billboards. It's not real. It's not real. The people up here, the people above, and yes, the people that Kanye West was talking about, okay, those people put the puppets in front. They infuse it with a bunch of marketing campaigns so that we can stay at the top. And if you stay at the top, you have all the attention. We literally saw Cardi B having an hour and a half one-on-one with Joe Biden. Okay, like what the hell does that have to do with anything? Why? Because attention. That was an attention play. How does Cardi B get the attention? Because she's ratchet, she's crazy, she's chaotic. They put her there for a reason. So this is now I'm going to explain why house is God and God is house. House music it's been around for 40 straight years, and it's been relevant the entire time. And in those 40 years, not once has house music been pumped with money, yet it still survives. Therefore, it is self-evident that house music has survived because the people choose it. The people choose it without any endorsements, without hardcore marketing. The people choose it. Nobody has chosen hip hop. Hip hop was pushed onto the people like a commercial. Okay.
Mhm.
I live in Toronto, Canada. I'm telling you, the last 20 years on mainstream radio, house music is just not there. It's only hip hop. And look what my whole city listens to. If you're from Canada, from here, the majority of people listen to hip hop. Even if it's not their number one, it's in their playlists. It's there. Okay. And
It's
so
like the only thing, sorry to interrupt, that they
it's
talk
okay.
about, it's pretty much money, drugs, and sex.
Degenerate
Yeah.
sex, like meaningless sex.
Yeah.
Degrading.
Nothing that promotes
Yes.
any sort of betterment
Togetherness.
for the humankind.
Yes, exactly. And again, I mean, and look where hip hop like truly comes from. It comes from America, and again, degeneracy is pushed through the hip hop, and then now look at the results from American society. Look at the generation coming up. Look at the 16-year-olds, the 17-year-olds. Well, look, you understand. So you are breeding a specific kind of society, and here we are. All the problems with America today, a lot of them stem from the frequency that you listen to. and
Nice.
that's all. So this is a really hardcore deep dive, and it might take the consumer here listening to this. It might take a couple of times to hear it for you to truly see it and understand. But I've been on this for 15 years, which is now half of my life. I'm 30 years old, and I've been on this for a long time. This is actually extremely exciting times for me because I've been anticipating this era, and that's why I'm going hardcore on house music, on my artistry and my community. If you want to hear more about this, if you want to do one-on-one, you can DM me, and I'll be very, very happy to talk to you.
Guys, make sure to talk to him. He knows a lot about this stuff. And if you guys are interested in recording as well, he's open to do sessions. So just let him know on any times. One last question before we close the session, because we're in an hour already. Question: what do you think is, at least as a DJ for you, is the VPN rate that you like to stay in
Yes.
when you're DJing for a large crowd?
Okay, so that's a great question. I like that surprise question. Okay, so again, a part of the reason why the society is the way it is because the hip hop, which is again the most popular music of today, hip hop has changed. The '90s hip hop that everybody truly loves used to be at between 90 to 105 BPM, which was 1.5 times the speed of your average sitting down heart rate. Okay. Now, the most popular hip hop, Drake's best hits, for example, all comes down to 60 to 70 BPM, sitting down music, where you do not actually have to get up and dance. You can just, dance in your seat. Okay. There is for the first time ever, the number one music in the world is at the slowest rate of all time. So I absolutely hate staying in that realm, and I rarely do. I rarely pull out hip hop when my DJ sets, and I do weddings, corporate events, I do any type of thing, birthday party, anniversaries. So the BPM I like to stay in is definitely like between 118 to 130, and in that realm of in that range, actually, you can do a lot of Latin stuff, merengue. You can do even you can do bachata from a Spanish point of view, and then that's where house music sits. That's where all styles of house music sits, except for some very fast techno. What else? A lot of soca. A lot of Caribbean style music is up there as well, although it could still fall into the reggaeton range, which is like around, again, normally between 100 to 110 is where reggaeton and soca and Caribbean vibes kind of sit within, which is, again, very, very danceable. The point is, as a DJ, my job is to keep people on the dance floor and to make them dance and to make them feel that nostalgic and euphoric feeling, and that feeling lies in between 100 to 130 BPM.
Yeah, I typically say from experience that it will go from 128 to 132 BPMs from what I've researched on my own. When you do DJing, that's pretty much where the heart is already flowing, the blood is pumping, but not at a pace where you have to run. You're just
right
enough to get you active and get you dancing.
Exactly.
Without having to look like you're done cocaine all day.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, I mean, we're already in an hour, so we're going to go ahead and wrap it up. I'm going to go ahead and do like a closing thing.
Let's do it. Yeah, let's do it up.
And then I'm going to go ahead and give your information again. You give your information once again, and then we'll go ahead and wrap it up real nice.
Okay, perfect.
1, 2, 3. Well, thank you for coming to the show. It is fantastic to speak to you for such a long time. I mean, we talked about politics and music. What else could you have in a show? Now, I want you to give your information to the audience so they can contact you if they wanted to. Please take it away.
All right. Thank you very much. And yeah, thank you very much for giving me this opportunity to be on your show. I think it's going to be a great show. I heard about the plans that you have behind this, and I think it's going to work on a social media standpoint. So I really, really hope you're successful in that. For me, guys, again, my name is Taurus. Like the bull, like the zodiac. If you can follow me on taurus.music, that is TAURUS.music on Instagram. I'd be more than happy to talk to you guys. I also have 20 plus tracks on release. You can follow me on Spotify as well. And that's basically it. I have a YouTube account. It's also Taurus Music as well. You'll see the official check mark on there. And that's it. If you guys want to pick my brain in any way whatsoever, I'm more than happy to do so. Ask me tough questions and challenge me. Even get mad at me, right? But at the end of the day, you are not my enemy, and I am not yours. And I do not intend to disrespect, as I am pushing my hardcore opinions. And then within my hardcore opinions, I'm slowly trying to infuse it into the music that I make. I've decided to be a driving force into the world from a musical standpoint, and this is how I intend to do it. So I look forward to seeing you guys. Taurus.music.
All right, guys, this has been another session of the Foreign Exchange. Happy to have you. Hope to have you in the next episode. Thank you so much.
Thanks, guys.
I would like, if I may, to take you